All right, we're back. Finally, it's my fault. Take the rap for it.
Well, you're a
Scheduling
nice
issues,
guy. I
computer issues,
think the only
moving
difference is
issues.
my beard is somehow whiter than it was in the fall.
Yeah, wedding,
Right?
real life things. Um, so what's going on?
Man, life's going on. Everything's good except for the nightly frustration of the Dodgers, but that's we'll get to that. But
Okay.
man, yeah,
Well,
enjoying paying attention to the baseball season, if not the individual games.
yeah. Well, let's talk about it because we missed a few weeks to say the least here, but Game 7 World Series, Dodgers, our Los Angeles Dodgers win it in incredible
Yeah,
fashion. I mean,
truly incredible fashion. Yeah,
that
yeah.
game had everything. Literally, everything, I think. The
I
ups, the downs, the question marks, the what kind of decision is this? The fielding, the
the
hitting.
the insanity of Yoshi coming back into the game after pitching the night. I mean, just yeah, man. There's so much. I mean, you could go almost at bat by at bat in that game and enjoy yourself the whole time because it was that chaotic. But I mean, the Miggy home run to immediately into the Pies catching the gap that was Kike even said he thought they just lost the World Series right there. Thought the ball was on the ground and came away with just a stupid catch and Yoshi and then of course the Will Smith home run and extras and it up until um up until that first out of the ninth inning, I never felt like we were going to lose that game. Like I just thought they're going to figure this out. They'll come back, and then you got one out in the ninth, and one of the weaker hitters on the team at the plate, and that was the first time I was like, oh, wait. Are we actually going to lose this? This is actually going to happen. We're going to lose this game. We're going to lose this series. And the series as a whole was just so intense, so insane. A fantastic series. And so for I guess we shouldn't have expected any different in a game seven. For it to be as tight and go as long as it did. But yeah, man, it was. I finally had come to the realization that we might actually lose that game, only for Mickey to hit the home run and turn that around, in a
The
heartbeat.
the reactions in the dugout when he hit it. I mean, that kind of told you everything you needed to know. And then the fact that Dave Roberts, he had a inclining to keep him in
Yeah,
and just ride it. And there was a funny story that came out that his wife told him he was going to do that at some point in the World Series. And his wife told Doc that, I guess. And that kind of got in his head of, oh, okay. And I left
yeah.
him. So I just thought that was incredible, all the stuff that comes out after the fact. But,
hmm
he wasn't hitting and hadn't hit. And
Yeah.
to do that, I mean,
One of the things I found interesting. We found out after the season was, Miggy's very much a rah guy. Pick everybody up. Get in their ear, and he wasn't that guy last year because he was struggling so much. And you come to find out, Kike was the one that kind of picked him up, and made sure he was still, Miggy was still engaged and trying to stay positive and all that. It's pretty wild to look back and see how many different, obviously Kike is a playoff warrior regardless, but just the stuff that had to happen, the behind the scenes stuff that you don't see on the field. Yoshi coming to Doc day of and saying, I think I can go. So that wasn't a spur of the moment, hey, we got to get somebody up. Yoshi's got to throw. It wasn't one of those decisions. This was in the cards. If they got to that point, they knew what they were doing. And so just all those, the stories that come out after the fact it's wild. It's wild. And man, that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. More fun, I think, than the first one.
yeah.
Um, the first one wasn't super competitive. Um, but this one was, I mean, the Blue Jays were as formidable of an opponent as we've seen, in the last however many years that they've been on this, dominant run.
It's apologize to the Yankees fans out there. Not really, because I don't like you, but It's definitely more fun to slap the Yankees around than the Blue Jays, but you know, it's
Yeah, no
is it a
doubt.
is it a rule? Talking about Andy Pajes, right? So I was pounding on the table, just sit him. He can't hit, just
Yeah,
sit him down. And then the fact that he's a defensive replacement, and I think it's a rule in baseball, honestly. Like, especially in playoff baseball, you put in someone for
uh,
defense, the ball always finds them.
gonna find him.
And sure enough, he gets a great jump on a ball and just throws down Kike like he's a little boy. And I mean,
Yeah,
that was the first batter that he literally came in and that was
yeah.
it. So that
But to
was
go, yeah,
insane.
but to go from, you get benched, and that's a miserable feeling. You get benched in the World Series is even worse. To still staying ready enough that you make that play. I mean, I got on pies a little bit last year for what I thought was a little bit of laziness, and I that still happened. But for him to stay ready speaks a lot to his character, probably his teammates lifting him up, and then certainly for Doc for having faith in him.
Yeah, and we forget sometimes too is like he's a rookie, right? So it's
Yeah.
like still learning to be a professional. Baseball is the extreme sport of peaks and valleys, right? And then your real game is somewhere in the middle, mo majority of the time. But he had extreme peaks and valleys his rookie year, and then at the end of the season, he wasn't hitting and things like that. But it says a
Mhm.
lot about the guy to like obviously make that incredible play. But yeah, he could have, yes, it's the World Series, but you're bummed getting sit on the bench and you pout and stuff like that. And hey, you don't get to the ball and the series is over. So, I mean, it says a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was pretty awesome to see him have that moment.
Man, and the parade was something else too. It's they cleaned up all the homeless out there.
All it took was a
Yeah.
second Dodgers World Series.
Yeah. I mean, it's just incredible to watch. Like it's an all day thing and you
Yeah.
know, getting to see it and how
Was our guy
much
C-Dub there?
he went last year. I don't think he
Oh
went. Did he
yeah.
go
All
this
right.
year? Yeah, I don't think he went this year. Getting to see Kershaw, go out on top,
Hmm.
only face one batter in the series, although it was a crucial batter.
It was. It
Um,
was.
that was I being in Vegas and watching that, when he came in, it was still I I was gonna feel horrible for him if that didn't
Yeah.
go the way it did. But
Yeah. I think we talked about it in the fall, but yeah, that I don't think I've ever been more nervous watching a baseball game than I was for him on the mound in that moment.
oh, and to get put
Yeah.
in that spot, but to watch him go out on top and everything he's
Yeah.
done and what he's meant to the Dodgers, but also to baseball in general, and he was just so great for the game, and
Just a
he
good
did.
dude.
He earned it. He deserved it.
Hmm.
And to go out back-to-back champions, And, he didn't really get to enjoy last year because he was hurt. And then
Right.
this year, he was a big component or big proponent of
Yeah.
getting them to the playoffs. And for a while, for a good, 6-week stretch, he was their only
He
starter that
was
was
the
healthy.
ace. Yeah. He
So,
was the ace. And
yeah.
we talked about it last year. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he wasn't, he didn't do a whole, didn't, wasn't asked to do a whole lot in the playoffs, but he carried that staff for a while there in the regular season, which made a huge difference. So he
Yeah.
definitely contributed. Probably not the way he would have dreamed it
Yeah.
in the World Series, but he gave it everything he had. So that's all we can ask.
Yeah, and I kind of mentioned it, with text with you guys, or, I think this was the most incredible World Series that I've watched, and I've watched every one since, I was a little kid, but um granted the Dodgers won, so that gives it a little bump in my
Yeah,
eyes,
we might be a
but
little biased there.
I'm trying to think back of the other couple World Series that had that electricity and was back and forth or big 2-game swings, extra inning games, or went down to the bottom of the ninth. And the two I came up with were the Twins and Braves in '91,
Hmm.
And then, of course, like the Yankees and the Diamondbacks in what, oh
Yeah.
04?
And no, in '01. It
Oh
was
01.
9/11 year
That's
in
right.
'01.
That's right. Oh one. Sorry.
Uh, yeah, I mean, thinking back to that, that I hated the Braves because it felt like, starting around that time they finished ahead of the Dodgers every year, and I've never gotten over my hatred of the Braves, um, which is rough here in Braves country, but I survive. Uh, but I was a huge Kirby Puckett fan at the time, and so that was an awesome World Series. Obviously, that Game 7 in 1-0 in extras is about as good as it gets. But I don't think that had much on the home run in the ninth to tie it, and then home run in extras to win
No.
it in the last World Series. Not to say that one's better than the other, but I would say that Game 7, '91 doesn't have a whole lot on it. And then I mean, I think a lot of the remembrance of the '01 World Series is just the fact that it was the Yankees, a few short months after 9/11, and obviously that was, uh, kind of the whole country got behind the Yankees as much as those of us who aren't Yankees fans can. But for the D-backs to win it the way they won it against the best closer of all time, that was a pretty exciting World Series as well. I can point to a couple others. The Dodgers had that long 18 inning game with the Red Sox back in 18, I think it was, which was pretty exciting. And we talked about David Freese and the Cardinals World Series in 11 was a good one. Joe Carter's walk-off home run in 92, I believe. Might have been 93, but I think it was 92. That was, of course, a game 6, but that was the only home run that's ever entered a World Series. Anyway, all that to say, I can't think of a better one. I can think of some great ones. But man, just the drama, the back and forth of that series, again, the 18 inning game, and then for it to go to extras and the double play to end game 6, and then go to extras in game 7, and just all that chaos. Yeah, it's tough to think of a better one. And that, I listen to a lot of other, maybe not quite as good podcasts, sports podcasts, but we're certainly, we rank near the top. But it seems to be a consensus outside of Dodger fans too, that was about the best World Series anybody's seen, at least in a long time. So, pretty awesome to it was our team that was a part of it and that won it.
Yeah, I remember the 91 just because I was a little kid, but I just remember my dad watching every little game, every game, and that was
Yeah.
probably one of my first real memories of baseball, like watching it day after day.
Hmm.
Um, Other than I went to the Dodgers playoff game in 1990 when they played the Reds and got destroyed. But
We
uh
like 4.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I remember my dad took me and it was cold and I
Yeah,
was
that's
like, I don't
awesome.
want to be here. And Barry
That's
Larkin
one more
just,
playoff game than I've been to.
yeah,
Oh no, wait, no, I have been to one. I have been to one.
Barry Larkin destroyed the Dodgers.
Uh-huh.
But no, I just remember like that was one of my first real memories of watching baseball. And I remember it went game 7 and watching it and stuff like that. But no, definitely 2001 with the D-backs. I really liked their closer, Byung-Young
Young
Kim.
Hyun
And I
Kim.
don't know
Yeah.
why I remember his name, but he was lights out. And then he got to Yankee Stadium and 2 games in a row,
Yeah.
walk-offs essentially. Like they
Yeah.
came back and then walk-offs. And I don't think I've ever felt so bad for someone. Like the look of
Uh-huh.
distraught and on his face was like, what just happened? And then they brought him back and he pitched well, I think, in game 7 and game 6. But
Yeah.
man, yeah, that I do remember that series. But I just, yeah, I don't think from game to game, moment to moment, anything really compares to what we watched this year.
No. It was
So
it was pretty awesome. It was pretty
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm sure Wake will agree with us like he always does. He never has differing opinions. Um, Wherever he may be at practice. But before we go, um, there was one other. So looking ahead, the Dodgers off-season needs, they needed a couple things. They got Edwin Diaz, which to me was more of a shock. I mean, obviously they needed somebody, but I just didn't think they would pony up for a closer. That's never really been their MO in the
And they did it
recent
last
years.
year.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean it hasn't been, but I thought, they did it once. It obviously didn't work out last year. Um, so for them to go back to the well again, I was pretty surprised too. I mean, I was happy about it, but I was just pretty surprised that they were willing to put that much money into the bullpen.
I mean, just his electric nature of entering the game. I mean, there's
No
not a
doubt.
better entrance. I'm sorry. There's just
No,
not, there hasn't been in a long time. And
probably since Trevor Hoffman at Hell's Bells.
yeah, I mean, the trumpets,
It's awesome.
I can't stand the Mets probably just because Brian Stevens loves the Mets, but to watch those videos of him going into the game when they had live trumpet player, I mean, it was
Yeah,
electric. There's nothing.
it really was.
So to get him, you never know how it's going to turn out or, how he's going to pitch or whatever, but you couldn't ask for a better guy in the ninth. So
No, I don't
theoretically,
know.
that
I
should
mean,
close the door with that. But
yeah, I can't. I mean, I don't know that they're maybe Josh Hader, maybe Aroldis Chapman, but I can't really think of a non or a closer who's still eligible to play in Major League Baseball, Emmanuel Clase,
yeah.
than Edwin Diaz has been the last couple of years. I mean, it's a pretty ridiculous pickup.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been injured a little bit, but one of the injuries was like a freak, like he just landed wrong or something. Like he
Yeah,
tore up his
celebrating
knee.
during the
Yes.
WBC, blew out his
Yes.
knee. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it wasn't
Which
like
was wild. Yeah.
overuse or
No.
something like that. So,
Mm-mm.
and
No,
then,
I mean, I'm looking forward to having him for the next few years. I think he'll be sturdy up the back end of that bullpen, especially, if Tanner Scott bounces back anyway, yeah, I was pretty pumped with that signing.
well, Trinan better figure it out, but we'll get to that maybe on one of these other ones, one of these next few pods because he's on my list. I can't deal with him
He was on my
anymore.
list last year,
I just I think he's
and
done. I think he's
I
done.
well, yeah, I mean, we can get into this later, but
But
one
yeah.
year's a fluke, maybe
No, but I
for it
think
to happen again.
to have an actual closer and not have to
Yeah,
rely on these two in the ninth and just, hey, here's your role. Yes, we may use you in emergency situations. It definitely lengthens the bullpen by a
yeah,
significant margin, and maybe they'll just pitch less and be ready to go, be
yeah.
fresher or whatever. But um, and then obviously, the big move was getting Tucker. I'm I'll just I was never sold. I thought the contract does not fit. I understand why. I get it.
Yeah.
But that contract is so big and well,
Yeah.
per year, I should say. It's not,
Yeah. Overall, it's not a huge deal. Um I struggle with it because yeah, I don't think he's a $60 million a year guy. I mean, there's what, two of those, three of those now. It's not that he's a bad player. He's certainly not. I mean, he's a really solid, you know, star level player, but superstar level, no. Having said that, if you've got more money than you know what to do with, why not go sign the best outfielder on the market for whatever it takes? And they needed an outfielder. Mookie was going to play, be again a full time shortstop this year. We weren't really sure what Pajes was going to look like, after he really struggled the end of last year. Um, Tommy Edmonds starting the year on the IL, Kike starting the year on the IL. They needed an actor, and why not go get the best one available? Again, it's not, if money's no object, which it seems to be, um, then yeah. I mean, I love it from that perspective. I don't think that if there was a salary cap, it'd be a different story. Putting that much towards him, but I can't complain because they've got the money to spend and they spend it. Um, it's I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar, but I think he's just going to be a really solid guy for the 4 years that they have him, and probably well beyond that with whether it's the Dodgers or somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know that he'll ever justify 60 million a year, but he doesn't really have to on the Dodgers.
No, I mean, you couldn't put him into a better lineup.
Yeah.
But it's, he's had what was I looking at? I was looking up the other day, but he has very, very high highs and very low
Hmm.
lows. And
Yeah.
so, but when he plays and he's not injured, it's been high highs. So,
Yeah.
um, with the Cubs last year, I mean, when he wasn't injured, he was a stud, but he's very, he only had one other year like that, I think, with the
Yeah.
Astros. So it wasn't, you know, anything longevity wise or whatever. I mean, he's still young. Definitely needed a right fielder. Can't have Teo out there
No, Teo
anymore.
needs to be,
So
yeah.
that's
The
so
bottom end of the defensive spectrum is where Teo needs to be from now until he retires.
yeah, definitely wanted another left-handed bat, most likely. So he just kind of
Mhm.
fit everything. 60 mil though. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a big number, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
It's a big
So
number.
I mean, we'll see
You
how
know,
it goes, but it's
yeah. I some of the stuff they did around the periphery too. Picking up guys like Santiago Espinal and some of the relievers. That they maybe are going to end up bouncing back and forth between the big leagues and the minor leagues, and really not contributing consistently, but just stuff that continues to give them depth. The James Tibbs, bringing over James Tibbs last year, um, huge. I mean, just a huge, like that kid's now a superstar prospect, and just stuff like, again, moves on the kind of on the periphery, stuff that doesn't get big headlines, but is stuff that'll continue to allow them to have the depth and the quality depth that they'll need going forward to compete every year, especially as the roster continues to get older. I mean, it's the oldest roster in baseball. That's not going to change anytime soon. So you need those younger guys to come in and bring some of that energy and just again, the older you get, the more that body breaks down. So you got to have depth behind them to be ready to go. It's pretty fun to watch that stuff.
and you need well, it'd be helpful if your young guys would stop getting hurt. I mean, we have so many pitchers,
The pitching yeah,
triple A, borderline major
yeah.
leaguers that tore up their arm last year and sat out or what, the River Ryans of the world who are going to be studs, but
Hmm.
just so
It
that's
is funny.
also a
You think about
component.
River Ryan, who certainly has the stuff and the pedigree to be a stud. He's like 27 now. He's not a he's not really a young prospect anymore. He's like a full blown. It feels like it's now or never.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I'd love to see him up at some point this year and actually get real innings to see what we've got there, because I think from everything you see and read, that kid could be a real stud for him. So who knows if he'll
The,
ever get that shot with the Dodgers? But
yeah, the one guy that I was pretty shocked that they didn't keep is Kopech, Michael Kopech, because
yeah.
I don't under it must be something medical or he wanted too much money because he fit the clubhouse.
Hmm.
There were no bad reports on him like
No.
there were with the White Sox.
Yeah.
He was a first round draft pick that just didn't really work out as a starter.
As a starter, yeah.
But he had an electric stuff. And last year with the Dodgers, he was insane. He was
Yeah.
so good. And then he got injured. And then this year was kind of more of the same. He was up and down and then injured and stuff like that. But it's got to be injuries or something. But I was really shocked that they didn't bring him back because I didn't think they would have to pay that much for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has a live arm. He gets outs. He's not a head case in the bullpen, so I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always surprised when they don't bring back guys with that kind of stuff, just because they seem to, rely on guys who have that stuff and they can figure out how to make them a pitcher who throws strikes and gets outs. Um, but yeah, there must have been something that they didn't like, or yeah, maybe he was asking for too much money, but something that soured him on him.
I
At
mean,
least not enough to go chase him.
he throws more strikes than Henriquez. So they're about the same in stuff wise. I mean,
Yeah.
100 fastball plus and a wicked curveball or slider or whatever, but
Yeah.
can't throw strikes. I don't know. So, that was the one move I was just surprised with some of their bullpen selections. And the Dodgers always rely on their scouting and
Yeah.
grab players that they think they can reinvent and, will
It's
put
worked a
you in
lot
this.
of times for
It,
him.
it
It's worked
has.
many, many times.
That's why they have
I
the
can't.
best farm system in the game.
Yep. Yep. I can't fault them for their strategy there.
No. So, all
But
right.
I mean, look, it was a fun off season. It was a kind of a shocking off season, I think, from the perspective of just getting, the two best guys at the two positions they needed the most. And I did not expect them to sign either one, quite frankly, but certainly not both. So that was they flexed their financial might again. Though I will say, I'm not sure it ended up this way at the end of the offseason, but at one point, after they'd signed Tucker and after they'd signed Diaz, their payroll for 2026 was going to be lower than 2025 because of all the money that they had come off the books. And so it wasn't like they were spending above and beyond what they had previous years. They were just basically replenishing with the two best guys on the market, which is pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous.
Still lower than the Mets. So that's all that
Mm,
matters. Stay below that threshold.
that's right.
Yeah, no,
And the Mets are proof that, big bucks doesn't necessarily mean anything at all.
oh no, they have their own issues. Yeah. All right. Well, what a season. What a ride. Um, we'll see what
Do it again. Let's do
2026
it again.
brings. Yeah, exactly. Go for the three. Last team to do it, the Yankees.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't.
al- almost 30
We're the
years ago
Yankees of the
now.
West now, right? We're the Yankees of
Yeah.
the West, so might as well duplicate it.
Yeah. We don't have a crazy owner though. Although I
Uh,
miss Steinbrenner. He was fun. He
it
was
was
fun to
fun.
read about. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
real fun to read
it
about.
was it was fun to have him as a different team's owner.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, all he wanted to do was win. So like you
That's hey,
can't
can't fault him for
any
that.
any owner that wants to do that, I applaud it because you have so many
Absolutely.
owners, they treat it too much like a business and
Yep.
they want the money from it and things like
Yep.
that, which it is, but they don't care about winning. So,
Right. No,
yeah.
I no. Anybody who ever wants to win, I can't fault them.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Anyway,
till next time, we'll be back hopefully sooner rather than later. We'll get Wakefield in here, possibly.
wakey wakey.
We'll see. Think he can get away from practice, softball
Ah,
and baseball practice. He's doing both.
jack of all trades.
Uh, what a guy. What a time.
All right.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Later.